People believe V was recently rushed out of the camp due to a severe injury and what that was about. We also have JK apparently getting emotional over the members and V, as well as people saying that V might be discharged very soon. Say Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Let's get into it. So we're getting to the point where V is going to be leaving the military very soon, and maybe JK as well as Jimin too. So a lot of people are definitely very excited. I think a lot of people might be forgetting Jimin and JK might be leaving soon too, mainly because I think they enlisted as one of the last people. So I think people might be thinking it's a little bit longer, but it is also coming up very soon. V is believed to be leaving, and people have been very excited. People have been waiting for that, and a lot of people have even been a bit restless, as they are saying that they wish it was happening much sooner. I'm just glad that it's happening at all at any point soon, because we are starting to see the boys trickle back in, and we are going to get to the point where we get more BTS moments. Even if they don't put out any music in the next few months, we're still going to see them hopefully attend interviews, we're going to see them hopefully attend events, and all of these things are going to be things to drum up publicity. So every time they go to these events and there's press there, there's going to be a lot more people talking about their appearance there. And this is all going to get them back into the spotlight and being talked about again. And when they release their music, everyone's going to know that they're back. This is a very common practice with PR if you're not familiar, and it's just to get as much coverage as possible before launching something so that people are putting their eyes on you. And one of those things is attending a lot of high profile events and getting pictures with other celebrities. So there definitely will be a ton of content and things coming out, even as the group is trying to get back together and trying to make music. It's not like we're not going to hear from them until the music gets released. I would be very surprised that as they are working on their album and as they're rehearsing for the choreography and doing all of that stuff, that they're not going to be attempting to do a lot of the PR and press and that sort of stuff. Some of the very exciting things that we're probably going to see from them is them posting dance challenges on TikTok and more of that, as well as them attending high-profile events, becoming guests at award shows, and doing interviews and maybe even talking about their time on a reality show. Now, if they can get a TV show or a reality show going, that would be really good. So they might pick up Run BTS as well as pick up another reality show, maybe on a different network. I'm pretty confident that this is a strategy that they will take. And of course, if that does change and they decide to completely go a different way, I will let you know, but I'm very excited and actually very confident, I'm about 99% sure, that we're going to start to see a lot more of them on shows and events and social content. And this is going to be the strategy for when the music gets released, because that's a different strategy once that gets out. But I think they're going to get their name back out there, and this is going to be them easing into the spotlight again. This is going to be their strategy, and it works. And of course, a lot of the marketing material and the things that will happen will likely not be something that they do, but just what the community does. For example, there are old clips that resurface and are being talked about constantly. One of them that surfaced recently was one where JK was talking to Suga about how he is a mix of personality of all the members. Funny enough, Suga did agree with this and said that that was true, and he has first-hand view of JK, so if he agrees it's true, it likely is. The clip that was clipped and edited of this moment also had a fan edit at the end of it, where they showed moments of RM or J-Hope, what their reaction to certain things were, and then they showed JK reacting in a very similar way to certain situations. This, I think, is so beautiful, and I think it explains the bond between all of the members, and one of the reasons why we can expect that they probably are not only coming back together for the return of BTS, but they're more than excited to, because they see it as friends and family reuniting rather than a work thing. You also have to understand that all of the members doing what they've done for such a long time and making the amount of money that they've made for such a long time, they could not have motivation to do the music that they've been doing or continue to make music. So many artists in their position feel that way. However, they don't. The BTS boys don't. They don't feel that at all. They do have the motivation to continue working, and they want to continue to make music. So combine that feeling with all 7 other boys who are there who feel the same way, you can get a bunch of people who are dying to work together again. One thing that you have to understand is that JK was raised by all of these boys. These boys were his family for such a long time and still are. And when he debuted with them, he was very young and impressionable. He learned everything that he had to learn about life, friendship, being social, and interacting with others, all through the other members. Of course, a lot of the boys were very young when they debuted, but a lot of them were also a little bit older. Old enough to not be impressionable and to already have a very strong sense of self. Understanding that going into the industry, you have to have a very strong sense of self. So they all kind of did, except maybe JK because he was way too young. So while the other members may not have changed too much or have been influenced by the other members to that degree, it was pretty obvious that JK was going to turn out like a mix of all of them. I think this is beautiful, and I think in the future when he does get to look back at his career and his life, he's going to remember moments like this where he felt influenced and loved and taken care of by the other band members. And I really love that for him. I hope he one day does write some sort of memoir or something to showcase this, and people can read that and understand where he's coming from and what his life has been. Because I think that that's really an interesting story. I think that there's a huge emphasis and conversation surrounding young stars in entertainment, but young stars in K-pop entertainment, but also young stars that have a different story from the generic Hollywood story are things that are not talked about enough. Because he likely wasn't touched or hurt by any particular person. I would hope. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I hope that's not. But if that were true and he was not touched or hurt by any particular person, then his story would not revolve around that side of things. It would revolve around just his journey and learning to grow and adapt within the entertainment industry, which you've heard a little less about, especially from people that are extremely famous. That is, of course, an end of life or end of career moment in which he would choose to release something like this. And anytime any of the members decide to share anything about their life, I hope we face it with compassion and understanding, because it's easy to go at it at a point of anger, either at the member or at other people, but it's difficult to go at it with a sense of compassion. I mean, even when we read things online, we tend to get a little angry at those things that we read about. For example, there was this post recently that was talked about how V was being rushed out of the military or was allowed to leave the military early for a little bit of a break due to personal issues. And some people were not aware whether it was a medical issue or whether it was a personal, like family related issue. It was believed that several people saw him leaving the military base and they were wondering why he had left and what the actual reason was. The particular video that I saw did emphasize that this was not something that was proven, but more so speculation, and they don't actually know if V really did leave the military or what it was. However, I don't think that this has actually happened, and definitely not to the degree in which people are talking about it. Now, when soldiers are serving their thing, whatever they're doing, they are typically not allowed to leave their post. They don't have a 9 to 5 like when they typically had when they were training, right? So they don't get done at a particular time. This was made aware to me recently. I did not know this, and there were some people who I had met that were from the military who told me that they could leave at any time, so that's what I was basing that information on, but that could be wrong, and I don't think that that is correct anymore. So he cannot leave his post or his job at any time, and I guess he sleeps at that particular base, and maybe they switch who does the night shift and the morning shift, whatever. However, there is a time in which the soldiers are allowed to leave, so they're not expected to just stay there the entire duration, and they can request time off. So after you serve a certain amount of time, you're allowed a vacation, and this time is usually a month or maybe a few weeks, and you're allowed to have that time to do whatever you want to do. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe V has ever taken time off, and now that he's approaching the end of the military, he might want to take some time off. Maybe it's not allowed, I don't know. Maybe it's allowed, maybe it's not allowed, I don't know. So that might be a reason to why he is leaving. If he had left previously, we were not made fully aware of it, and we don't know if we can confirm if he had left for a specific amount of time prior. But if this is the case, I think it's really cool that he would have had the opportunity to leave and focus a little bit on himself. I don't think it needs to be anything as dramatic as him having an injury or a personal issue. It could just be him wanting to leave, wanting to take a breath, and doing that. Because being in the military and training for the amount of time that he has is of course very stressful, and he should be allowed to take that time off. So if that is the case, I'm glad that that is the case and he is taking time off. But if he is taking time off due to any particular injury, then that's not great. But then we also have no idea whether he was actually seen leaving the camp or not. So all of this is speculation. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos, linked down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.